Welcome, my channel advice for wisdom. Gentlemen, let's get one thing straight. Ignoring a woman does not guarantee she'll come running back to you if she's not chasing you even after you've pulled away. Then you've misunderstood the game completely. Welcome to Man of Substance, where we break down the cold, hard truths that most men refuse to accept. Today we're tackling one of the biggest misconceptions in dating, the idea that ignoring a woman will automatically trigger her desire to chase you. Now, some men believe that by going silent, she'll suddenly realize your value, panic, and start flooding your phone with texts. But here's the brutal reality: if she's not chasing you, it's because she doesn't see you as a prize worth chasing. See, most men make the mistake of thinking that just pulling away is enough to make a woman desperate. But that only works under one condition. She has to already see you as high value. If she doesn't, then your silence doesn't create mystery. It just confirms that she doesn't care. You weren't a priority to begin with, and your absence changes nothing. And let's be honest, a woman who truly desires you doesn't need to be manipulated into chasing you in the first place. If she's genuinely interested, she'll naturally invest in you. But if she's not, no amount of ignoring her will make her feel something she never did. So if you've been ghosting a woman expecting her to chase you and she hasn't, then you need to take a step back and ask yourself, did you even have her interest to begin with? That's what we're about to break down in this video. Stay locked in, because I'm about to show you exactly why your strategy isn't working and what you should be doing instead. Before we start, I've created a community on Podia where I break down everything you need to know. Step by step, you'll get no-nonsense practical advice that will boost your confidence and help you build stronger, more meaningful connections. And the best part, the first 20 people who join will get an exclusive discount. So don't hesitate, click the link in the description to grab your spot. If you know someone who could use this, share it with. She never wanted you that much. Then one. She never wanted you that much. If a woman truly desires you, you won't need to play games to make her chase you if she's not reaching out after you've ignored her. The cold truth is that she never really saw you as someone worth chasing in the first place. And that's where most men fail. They assume that pulling away will make her realize what she's lost, but that only works when she actually feels like she's losing something valuable. If she wasn't emotionally invested in you from the start, your silence doesn't create mystery. It just confirms that you were never a priority. A lot of men think ignoring a woman will always trigger attraction, but the truth is that only works when she already has strong feelings for you. If she never saw you as someone she truly wanted, your absence won't create desire. It will just make her move on faster. A woman who is genuinely interested in a man doesn't need to be manipulated into chasing him. She'll naturally want to be around him, talk to him, and invest in him. But when a woman sees a man as just another option, she won't care if he stops texting or disappears. This is why so many men fail with this tactic. They assume that women are sitting around waiting for a man to ignore them, so they can suddenly realize their worth. That's not how attraction works. Women don't chase men who they never truly wanted. If she was already losing interest or never felt strongly about you, then your silence won't change anything. If anything, it just confirms that she made the right decision by not prioritizing you in the first place. Picture this. A guy meets a woman. They exchange numbers and he starts texting her. She responds, but there's no real excitement in her messages. She takes hours or even days to reply, rarely initiates conversations, and always seems busy when he tries to set up a date. He notices this, so he decides to ignore her, expecting her to panic and start chasing him. But what happens? Nothing. She never reaches out, and after a few weeks, he sees her with another guy. Why? Because she was never truly interested in him. His absence didn't create longing. It just made it easier for her to move on without feeling guilty. The hard truth is, if a woman really wants you, she will make an effort. Whether you text her every day or disappear for a while, if she's not chasing you, it's not because you didn't ignore her correctly. It's because she never saw you as the man she truly wanted in the first. Ignoring only works on emotionally invested women. Place 2. Ignoring only works on emotionally invested women. Most men think that pulling back from a woman is some kind of magic trick that will make her suddenly realize she wants you. But here's the truth. This only works if she was already emotionally invested in you. If she wasn't, your silence doesn't create attraction, it just gives her an easy excuse to forget about you for a woman to chase you after you ignore her. She has to feel like she's losing something valuable that only happens when she already had strong feelings for you. If she was genuinely into you, then yes, pulling away might trigger her fear of losing you. But if she was never emotionally attached, she won't feel the need to chase you at all. She'll simply move on like nothing happened. The problem is, a lot of men think ignoring a woman will somehow create attraction. They assume that by going silent, she'll start missing them and suddenly realize how much she likes them. But that's not how it works. Attraction isn't built on absence, it's built on presence. It's built on how she felt when she was around you. If those feelings were never strong in the first place, your absence won't make a difference. This is why you see some women chasing after men who ignore them, and others who don't even notice when a guy disappears. It all comes down to emotional investment. A woman who was already attached will feel your absence, but a woman who was never that into you will see your silence as nothing more than a quiet exit from her life. Here's an example. A man starts dating a woman and things seem to be going well. They talk often, she responds quickly, and she seems excited to see him. But over time, he starts acting too available, and she begins to lose interest. She starts replying slower, canceling plans, and becoming more distant. He notices this and decides to ignore her to see if she'll check face. A few days pass, and suddenly she starts texting again. She asks why he hasn't been reaching out and even tries to make plans why. Because she was emotionally invested and his silence created uncertainty. Now imagine another scenario. A guy meets a woman who was never really interested. She responded to his messages, but only out of politeness. She never initiated, never showed any real enthusiasm, and always seemed busy. He decides to ignore her thinking she'll start missing him, but instead she never texts again. She doesn't even notice he's gone. That's the difference. If she never had strong feelings for you, ignoring her won't make her suddenly care. The only women who chase after being ignored are the ones who were already invested. If she's not chasing, it means she never. You were never. The prize was 3. You are never the prize. A lot of men think that when they ignore a woman, she'll automatically value them more. But the hard truth is, a woman will only chase a man she sees as the prize. If she's not chasing you, it's because in her eyes, you were never the prize to begin with. And that's a reality most men don't want to face when a woman truly values a man. She naturally wants to be around him. She puts in effort, initiates conversations, and finds ways to keep him in her life. She doesn't wait for him to ignore her before realizing his worth. She already sees it. The men who get chased are the ones who don't have to play games to create attraction. They command respect and admiration simply by being who they are. But here's where most men mess up. They pedestalize women. They believe that just showing interest and treating her well should make her reciprocate that energy. They assume that by being kind, available, and emotionally present, she will recognize their value. But attraction doesn't work that way. Women don't chase men just because they're nice. They chase men who make them feel something: excitement, admiration, desire. If she doesn't see you as someone valuable, no amount of ignoring will change that. The problem is, many men rely on tactics instead of genuine self-improvement. They think pulling away will shift the power dynamic in their favor. But the truth is, power and attraction doesn't come from games. It comes from mindset. If you truly saw yourself as the prize, you wouldn't need to manipulate a woman into chasing you. You wouldn't even need to test her interest because you would already know your worth. The men who naturally get chased are the ones who live with confidence, purpose, and ambition. They don't make women the center of their world. They focus on their own growth, their own success, and their own fulfillment. That energy is what makes them attractive. Women are drawn to men who have something going for themselves, men who don't need validation or attention to feel complete. If you had to resort to ignoring a woman just to test whether she would chase you, you've already lost. Because the truth is, high value, men don't waste time wondering whether a woman sees their worth. They already know it, and they don't chase women who fail to recognize it. So if she's not chasing you, the real question isn't why isn't she chasing me? It's why did I ever think I had to make her the moment you start thinking that way? You stop playing games and start becoming the kind of man that women naturally gravitate. Another man already has her attention toward 4. Another man already has her attention. You might think that by ignoring her, she'll start missing you and come running back. But the truth is, if she's not chasing you, it's probably because another man already has her attention, and not just any man. Someone she sees as more exciting, more valuable, or simply more in tune with what she wants. Women don't sit around feeling lost when one guy pulls away. If she was truly interested in you, she wouldn't have put herself in a position to lose you in the first place. But if she's not chasing, it means she already had someone else in her sights. Maybe it's a man she was already talking to before she met you. Maybe it's someone who stepped in the moment you stepped out. Either way, she's not dwelling on your absence. She's too busy enjoying the attention she's getting elsewhere. This is where most men get it wrong. They assume that their absence will make her realize what she's missing. But what if she was never missing anything? What if, to her, you were just one of many options? A lot of men don't want to admit that a woman they liked wasn't that invested in them. But the reality is, if she had strong feelings for you, she wouldn't need to be reminded of your value by your silence. She would already feel it attractive. Women, especially, don't struggle to find male attention. Whether she's online at work or just going about her day, men are constantly trying to get her attention. If she has options, she's naturally going to gravitate toward the one that excites her the most. And if that's not you, ignoring her won't change a thing. Some men think that disappearing will suddenly make her view them as more valuable. But it doesn't work that way. If she already had her eyes on someone else, your silence just makes it easier for her to move on. A woman who truly sees a man as special will not put herself in a position to lose him. She won't take his presence for granted or risk letting another woman take her spot, but a woman who is only half interested will see his absence as an opportunity to explore other connections. If she's not chasing you, it's because she doesn't feel like she has to, and chances are another man is already giving her the validation and excitement she craves. Men who get frustrated over this usually don't realize one key thing. If she was emotionally attached to you, another man wouldn't be able to take her attention so easily. But if she lost interest, the moment you stopped putting in effort, it means she was never really yours to begin with. The truth is, if a woman is genuinely into she will make sure she doesn't lose you. She won't be testing you, waiting for you to ignore her so she can decide how she feels. She'll already know the fact that she's not chasing you should tell you everything you need to know. Because when a woman truly values a man, she doesn't risk losing him to someone. You made yourself too replaceable. Else 5. You made yourself too replaceable if she's not chasing you. It's because she doesn't feel your absence. And if she doesn't feel your absence, it's because you never stood out enough to begin with. A woman only chases a man when she feels he brings something unique and irreplaceable to her life. If she sees you as just another guy, she won't care whether you're there or not. Most men think that being nice, available, and doing everything a woman likes will make them stand out, but that actually does the opposite. When a woman sees that you're too easy to please, too predictable, or too much like every other man she's encountered, she doesn't feel any urgency to keep you. Why? Because she knows she can find the same qualities in another guy without much effort. Think about it. If she feels like she can replace you with the next man who gives her attention, what motivation does she have to chase you? Women chase men who have something rare. Maybe it's the way they carry themselves, their confidence, their ambition, or their ability to lead. It's never about just being a good guy. It's about being the guy. Now here's where most men fail. They focus too much on what the woman wants and not enough on what makes them unique. They change their personality to fit her preferences. They agree with everything she says, try to impress her constantly, and become overly available. And what happens? She loses interest because she doesn't see any depth, any mystery, or any real sense of individuality. Let's say you meet a woman and you start texting her every day, complimenting her nonstop, and always being ready to hang out the moment she asks. In your mind, you're showing effort, but in her mind, she's already figured you out. There's no challenge, no excitement, nothing about you that sets you apart from the other men doing the same thing. So when you suddenly pull away, she doesn't feel any loss, because there was never anything truly unique to hold on to. The men who get ch'bi aren't the ones trying to be everything a woman wants. They are the ones who have their own lives, their own ambitions, and their own sense of self. A woman sees them as valuable because they bring something different, and that difference makes them unforgettable. If she's not chasing you, ask yourself, were you ever truly irreplaceable, or were you just another guy she knew she could replace at any? She sees your silence as weakness. Time 6. She sees your silence as weakness, not strength. You thought ignoring her would make her value you more. You assumed that by pulling away, she'd feel your absence and chase you down, but instead she shrugged, moved on, and maybe even laughed at your attempt. Why? Because in her eyes, your silence isn't power, it's weakness. A lot of men have this idea that ignoring a woman makes them look dominant. They think it shows confidence, self-respect, and high status. But here's the harsh truth. If she never saw you as a prize in the first place, your silence isn't changing anything. She's not seeing a strong man standing firm. She's seeing a guy who ran out of options and resorted to playing mind games. Women respect men who lead, who own their presence, and who don't need to rely on disappearing acts to seem valuable. If you truly had value, you wouldn't need to prove it through silence. She would have already recognized it when you were around. And if she didn't, then your absence is just confirmation that she was never that interested to begin with. Now let's be clear. True confidence does not come from ignoring women. It comes from not needing to think about them so much in the first place. A man who is truly confident isn't pulling away just to see if she notices. He's naturally too focused on his purpose, his growth, and his ambitions. The second, your strategy revolves around her reaction. You've already lost the frame. For some women, your silence isn't attractive. It's a sign that you weren't a challenge to begin with. Strong women don't chase weak men. And if the only way you feel powerful is by ignoring her, then you are never leading in the first place. Imagine a man at the top of his game, a successful businessman, an athlete, or a leader in his field. Do you think he's sitting around waiting to see if a woman texts him back? Do you think he's checking his phone every 5 minutes to see if she finally realized his worth? No, he's busy living a life that women want to be a part of. Meanwhile, the average guy who has nothing going on is using ignoring her as a last-ditch attempt to feel important. That's the difference. So here's the reality. Check if a woman isn't chasing you. Ignoring her won't magically flip a switch in her brain. It won't create attraction where there was none. The only way to make a woman regret losing you is by being the kind of man she never wanted to lose in the first place. And that has nothing to do with silence. It has everything to do with you focused on her, not on yourself. Value 7. You focused on her, not on yourself. A woman isn't going to chase a man who makes her the center of his world the moment she senses that all of his energy is directed at her. Whether through constant attention or through calculated silence, she knows he's not the kind of man who leads. And that's when she loses interest. Attraction doesn't grow. When a man is fixated on whether a woman notices him, it grows when he is so focused on his own mission that she wants to be a part of it. The men who struggle with women are usually the ones who spend too much time thinking about them, what they're doing, who they're with, and whether they'll come back. Meanwhile, the men women can't resist are out there making things happen, not sitting around waiting for a response. Some men believe that ignoring a woman will create desire, but in reality, she's only going to chase if she sees him as someone she doesn't want to lose. And that has nothing to do with pulling away. It has everything to do with how he carries himself in everyday life. A man who is constantly trying to get a reaction, whether through attention or absence, is still showing that he revolves around her, and women don't respect that. Take a look at the kind of men women truly admire. They aren't worried about whether she texts back. They aren't sitting around analyzing her actions. They are too busy focusing on their purpose, their goals, and their personal development. That's what creates attraction. Not games, not silence, and definitely not waiting for her to notice you're gone. The problem with most men is that they confuse playing hard to get with being hard to get. There's a big difference. A man who plays hard to get is still making his decisions based on her. He's still thinking about whether she'll react, whether she'll chase, whether she'll come back. But a man who is truly hard to get, he doesn't even think in those terms. His life is so full, his goals so consuming, that women naturally sense his value. They chase because they feel that being with him is a privilege, not because he manipulated them into feeling that way. Instead of playing these strategies, the real move is to build a life so fulfilling that she feels your absence. Not because you ignored her, but because your presence was something rare. The second a man starts valuing his time, energy, and self-respect more than the outcome, with one woman, he steps into a different category, one where women notice respect and naturally want to chase. That's the difference between the men women forget and the men. They can't stop thinking about the ones who don't need to use tactics because their value speaks for itself. A woman will never chase a man she doesn't see as worth chasing. And that's the hard truth most men don't want to hear. If she's not chasing you, it's because in her mind, she sees no real loss in letting you go. And that means you were never truly the prize to begin with. Too many men spend their time playing games, thinking that ignoring her, delaying responses, or acting disinterested will spark some deep emotional reaction. But women don't chase absence. They chase value, and value isn't created by silence. It's built by how you carry yourself, how you live your life, and what you bring to the table. Here's the most controversial truth of all. If you even have to think about making her chase you, you've already lost because the men women can't resist. Never sit around strategizing ways to get attention. They are too consumed by their own mission, their own purpose, their own self-improvement. And when you're operating on that level, women don't just chase. They fight to be in your life. Now I want to hear from you. Have you ever ignored a woman thinking she'd chase you, only to realize she didn't care at all? Or maybe you've experienced the opposite, where a woman was drawn to you the moment you stopped focusing on her. Drop your experiences in the comments, and I'll be responding. Let's build a space where men learn from each other, grow together, and level up as a community. I appreciate you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Stay focused. Stay strong. If you're looking to take a deeper dive into these concepts, join my Podia community link in the description. It's packed with powerful insights to help you master your masculinity in today's dating world. Stay strong, stay focused, and protect your power. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.